Hello there, Algebra 1, and welcome to Lesson 3.5. Today, writing ratios and proportions. Ratios and proportions are something pretty important in the real world out there. You see all sorts of ratios out there, and we are going to learn how to write them. So, first off, a ratio uses division to compare two quantities, okay? The ratio of two quantities, say A and B, where B is not 0, can be written in three ways. So we're going to see it as A, that's letter A over B. We're going to see it as A to B. And we're also going to see it as B to A. It can be either way there. So each ratio is read the ratio, simply, of A to B. And they should be written in reduced form. Whoop. Reduced form. Okay. Sorry, computer is getting a little funky there. Anyway, so let's learn how to write a ratio. Cell phone use. A person makes 6 long-distance calls and 15 local calls in 1 month. So first, we're finding the ratio of long-distance calls to local calls. So basically, what we are doing here is long-distance calls, the number, well, long-distance calls is 6. Over local calls is 15. What we can think of that is 6 to 15, or also, remember, we want to reduce. So if you type in your calculator, here's a little trick, 6 divided by 15, and you go to math, enter, that is going to reduce the fraction for you. So use the calculator trick, math, enter, to quickly reduce fractions. Now, long distance calls to all calls, we need to think there are 6 long distance calls. Now, how many total calls are there? There are the 6 long distance plus the 15 local, which means there's a total of 21 calls, or 6 divided by 21 is going to give us another reduced fraction, 2/7. So you have to be careful what they are asking. All calls, think about it, you make long distance and local calls, they both count towards that there. So those are how to write a ratio. Okay. Sean and Mira selling tickets to their school's talent show. Sean sold 36 tickets and Mira sold 44. Find the specified ratio. So a number of tickets Sean sold. So basically we are finding Sean's ratio to Mira. And we know that Sean sold 36, while Mira, I suppose I'm saying that right, it sold 44. You do want to reduce that. 36 divided by 44. Go to math, enter. And the ratio is 9 to 11. So that again is how it's read. 9 to 11 tickets, Sean to Mira. Number of tickets Mira sold to number of tickets Sean and Mira sold. So now we need to be a little careful. So now we have Mira over the total number of tickets. Well, Mira sold 44. The total number is 36 plus 44, which is 80. And we find then that she sold a ratio, 44 divided by 80, of 0.55, or 11 over 20. I know I mentioned it. Another way this could be written is 11 to 20 as such, with the 7 semicolon there. That's not time. That is just another way to represent it. I'm fine if you represent it as a fraction. Know that it might be appearing as the other methods as well, however. So the next example is solving a proportion, and proportions essentially are just two ratios equal to one another. So we have a ratio equal to another ratio, It's big in cooking and some other events as well. So we basically set the ratio up. Now we want to get rid of the denominator. So simply we are going to multiply by that denominator. So we're just going to multiply by 15. Remember, it's the reciprocal. And whatever we do to the other side as well, we have to do the same thing. So 15 times y over 15, remember that's the identity, is just going to make 1y. 15 times 3/5, I'm doing that in the calculator, is going to give me a fraction here. So is simply, well, it really comes out to be 45 over 5, which simplifies to 9. Okay, so that is what our solution to that proportion is then. If we look at some more problems here, so solve the proportion, so this time we're solving for c up here, we're just going to multiply by that denominator, times 28 times 28, cancels those out. So c is equal to, let's take 28 times 9/4. Notice how I'm using parentheses around the fractions, and that's going to be 63. So 63 is equal to c. Again, multiply by the denominator. Denominator on out there. 8 times 32, those are just going to cancel. 7/8 in the parentheses times 32 is 28. A equals 28. Okay, so solving some proportions like that, just multiply by the denominator. Solve a multiple step problem. So let's check out this swimming pool. Swimming pool is being filled with water. After 5 minutes, the pool has 400 gallons of water. If the pool has a volume of 11,200 gallons, how long does it take to fill the empty pool? So we need to think about this here. So we know that our ratio is 400 gallons to 5 minutes. Okay, now we want to set up the other proportion here, other ratio, as the same units up top. So we have a total of 11,200 gallons, sorry, over minutes we're trying to solve for. Okay, so once we set that up then, it is now just an exercise of multiplying. Now, we have a little bit different of a way to solve this. Let's still multiply each side by our denominator x. So we're going to multiply each side by x here. Okay, and we still have 11,200. Now what's going to happen is on the right here, those x's are going to cancel. On the left, we're going to have 400x over 5 is equal to 11,200. Now, once we have that, we can still think of it as the 400x. Now, we want to get rid of the 5 in the bottom. So we're just going to multiply by 5 to each side. And we still have our 11,200. Which is going to cancel those 5's out, leaving us with 400x is equal to 5 times 11200, which is 56000. And divide each side by 400, and we end up with the final answer. And it would take about 140 minutes to fill up. So soak that one in, a little bit of moving everything around, a little tricky when x is in the denominator. So let's look at another example here. Olympic pool has a volume of 810,000, the same rate. So the same rate is 400 over 5 is equal to, this time, 810,000 over x. Let's remember that method, and we're going to learn another method next week or next lesson, but we're going to multiply each side by x. So x times 400 over 5 is equal to 810,000. One way to think about this, we can actually multiply by the reciprocal of that 400/5. So 5 over 400, if we actually just multiply by that right away, that is going to get rid of both those fractions. So 810,000 times parentheses 5 divided by 400. And we end up with x is equal to 10125 minutes, which is quite a long time. Okay, so try out the 3.5 homework. It should be listed up online there for you. Make sure you check your answers. And good stuff, everybody.